Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Juggernaut, and this will be my first ever playthrough on the channel of Project Zomboid. And today, we're going to be using the 10 Years Later mod, and we're going to be starting our, hopefully, long adventure. I don't know how long it's going to last. I may die in a couple of days just in the game, but, you know, hopefully, it'll be a bit longer than that. I did play this game a fair bit off camera, and I do know sort of what I'm doing, but I do have some pretty difficult settings in mind for this, so we will see. First of all, the 10 Years Later mod is, well, pretty much what the tin says, or rather what it says on the tin. It basically transforms the map so that by the time you're playing, everything is 10 years after the initial infection. So, with that said, let's go over to the mod section, and I'm going to show you everything that I'm using. I mean, there's so much here that I recommend just pausing the video if you're interested in any particular mods. As I go through the videos and through, content and the content of the mods, what I mean is I will mention what mod, contributes what to the actual gameplay, but for now, if you want to copy the settings, I suppose, here it is. The white mods are turned off, by the way, so here, for example, with blankets, it's redundant. With British Armor Pack, I've tried using this. There's so many broken pieces of armor and clothing that, honestly, it's not worth it. And then everything else is pretty much all turned on, as you can see. Some tile mods, a couple of start mods that I'm not going to be actually using, the only cure, visible holsters, some of my favourite mods here, as well as British Weapon Pack and Gunslinger. The only cure as well, I don't know if I mentioned that. Alright, that's about it. By the way, I am playing on a 1440p monitor, and I will record this at 1440p for you a lot. So, the UI in the game looks a little bit, well, maybe a little bit weird because of that, but yeah, I had to do some custom scaling for everything, so it might be a little bit different on your end if you're using 1080p monitors. Right, so let's actually start by making our world and deleting this. As you can tell, I did a test run, and I died in the test run, but I did a test run of this series to see how it sort of will play out before I start recording, and yeah, it's difficult, but it's very fun, trust me. So, we're going to do custom sandbox, and let's set up this world, shall we? We're going to call it YouTube, just so I can keep track of all my different save files a little bit easier. We're going to spawn inside Raven Creek. This is going to be 10 years later. Raven Creek is a custom map, or it's not a custom map, it's within the vanilla map, but it's a custom location within the map. It has a custom 10 years later variant of it. And according to the description of the mod and the in-game lore for it, it is one of the last cities to fall to the initial infection, and because it was sort of the last in line, it is a little bit more fortified, and there's a little bit more of a military presence and more barricades and stuff like that within the city because, well, the residents knew what was happening before it actually happened. Whereas on the other hand, all of the other cities in the game pretty much got overran in a day or so. I think lore-wise, the game starts 3 days after the infection, or after the initial infection, right? So, anyways, Raven Creek, here we come. And I already prepared a custom rule set for this called 1 year later. And I'll explain why in a second. So, we're going to go with high zombie count. I was thinking about doing very high or insane even. However, I'm using CDDA zombies, which is a mod which adds different types of zombies. And honestly, I'm thinking of even reducing this down to normal because it's very, very difficult. It adds some wacky zombies, it has wrestlers, grabbers, tough zombies, etc., etc. The previous attempt, I got killed by a wrestler zombie. It just grabbed me and threw me to the ground. And there was very little I could do there. and I just died. So honestly, I'm thinking about even reducing this lower, but I'm going to keep it at high for now. It's very difficult. The only reason I'm keeping it at high is because we're going to have a advantageous start. Day length 4 hours for me. This is a must. 1 hour days to me just don't make any sense. Time goes by way too quickly. You end up eating a bag of chips for like an hour and a half or 2 hours when you're playing with this. Let's say you eat a bag of chips, I don't know, read a magazine or something, it's like 3, 4, 5 hours you spent doing that. Way too much. 4 hour days for me is the ideal balance between immersion and realism and fun on the other hand. So yeah. I know people that play on real time as well. I can't. Then it just, then things happen too quickly compared to how time progresses, right? So, yeah. Anyways, water shut off, house alarms and stuff like that, already determined by the mod. The reason this preset is called 1 year later is because months since Apocalypse, 12. That's the most you can set. Actually, it's going to be 10 years. The mod will fix this. We'll sort this out, but yeah, keep these settings as is. Everything here is default, everything here is default. A generator spawn, I like to put it extremely rare. Even then I find plenty of generators, but I can't go lower than this. Fuel consumption I've reduced to half, feel like it uses too much. And corpse maggot spawn I've put in bodies only. This is mainly for performance. I think when it does around bodies it hinders performance a little bit, but it's not just that, it's also the fact that I don't know whether this actually does anything. Because when you hang around dead bodies in the game, you get nauseous. But I don't think maggots have anything to do with that. I think that's just flavor, honestly. Loot is set to extremely rare. I know people that play it at insanely rare and think that's the only way the game should be played. Generally speaking, I found a lot of people which have this obsession with making the stats in a custom sandbox the most difficult possible. This is already more difficult than the default game mode, which is Apocalypse. Well, actually, Apocalypse is the tougher of the game modes. You have Builder, Survivor, and Apocalypse. Apocalypse is the tougher of the initial sort of default 3. And you have Initial Infection 1 week later, 6 months later, which is pretty tough, etc., right? And some of the other ones are my own custom designs. But my point is, this is a great balance between... the default is rare. This is a great balance between actually looting things and finding them, and resources are scarce, because otherwise you're going to open up a whole bunch of cabinets and stuff and there's just going to be nothing in there, and that's honestly a little bit boring. I'd rather find stuff that I don't need than, have it be boring. XP multiplier, I like to set this at 2 because XP generally is a grind in this game and you gain it slowly, which is not a bad thing. I don't dislike it. It's just that for the purposes of this being a YouTube series, I don't want to spend like 3 days just exercising and doing nothing just to get my stats up a little bit. That's boring for you guys, and if I have to cut that and then play it myself and then cut back in, it's just a whole heap of work. I'd rather just cut out the middleman, right? Just increase the XP gain for everything. World map is on. Vehicles, I like to put a lot of vehicles, because to me it doesn't make sense that vehicles just disappeared out of Knox County. Sorry, I had to take some water there. For me, it doesn't make sense. I'd rather have them like you see in the background, right? There's a whole heap of vehicles here. What I do put them on, though, is general condition very low, and gas very low, so that they're going to be broken vehicles, they're going to be useless, but there's going to be loads of them around. It just seems more realistic to me. Transmission saliva only. I think recently this has been sort of the go-to option for a lot of people, at least from the Project Zomboid Reddit page that I'm known to frequent, right? Blood and saliva doesn't make much sense because scratches can but don't necessarily infect you. Saliva only makes it so that if you're bitten, you're dead. If you're scratched, you're alive. It just there is no blurred line in between the two, right? Because with blood and saliva, there's a percentage chance that you get infected from a scratch. But it doesn't always happen. From bites, you're dead. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter how he bit you, when, where, you're dead. Alright, that's about it. And then this, obviously, advanced zombie options, respawn at 0, population multiplier at 2. I think most people play with respawn off, and people that don't play with respawn off don't understand how zombies work in this game. They migrate a lot. The fact that they're not respawning doesn't mean that you clear out a town and it's forever going to be clear, first of all. Second of all, the default respawn rate is insignificant almost. I think the default is 0.1, right? That means 0.1, I think, percent or the fraction of it, of the cell population is going to respawn every respawn hour. However, cells in this game, which is like a huge chunk of the map, right? If you're in it, they don't respawn, and cells in this map or in this game are massive, and I mean massive. So, honestly, respawning zombies doesn't make a lot of sense. Plus, if you play with loot that it's a setting somewhere in here, I've left it as default. It's not loot rarities, I think it might be down here somewhere. Anyways, there's a setting to basically control whether loot respawns or not. If loot doesn't respawn, why would the zombies respawn? You make it so that there's always an infinite amount of zombies, but there's never an infinite amount of resources for you to kill those zombies with. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense, honestly. Zombies hear your microphone. Obviously, I've left this to push to talk. We're gonna play around with it, and you'll see it's awesome. Skill Recovery Journal, I love having this mod. It's a great solution for sort of transferring characters over. If your character dies and you want to pick up from there with a different character, you can get the journal, you can get all the skills back if you want to. A lot of people use this. I like it. It takes a little bit of resources and time and skill to actually craft a journal, and then you have to write stuff in it, but I mean, that's great. RV Interiors is phenomenal. This is multiplayer settings for Gunfighter, irrelevant. Big Pen. One of the best mods out there, 4-color Big Pen. For those of us a little bit older, we know exactly what that is. For those of you that don't, it's a pen with basically 4 different pens inside it. You can click which one you want, which color you want. I turned this off, allow the very rare Big Excalibur pen to spawn. I turn it off, and yet it still spawns! It breaks through the rules of the game. It's hilarious. If it does spawn, I will just completely ignore it. It's a joke weapon. It does an infinite amount of damage, so it one-shots everything, but I'm not going to use it. It's just silly. I don't want it to spawn, but sometimes it does. Become desensitized. Common sense, the only cure. Etc., etc., expanded helicopter events, CDDA zombies. I've left everything default. Yep. I've left everything default, and I like it. Feral zombies I've cut down in half, basically, from 4 to 2. So here's the thing. Brute is set to 0 by default for some reason. I get that they might be broken or something. Master is set to 1, Necromancer to 1. All of these are set around 2 or 5, Fat at 12, but these are like more normal zombies. And then there's Feral. The Feral ones are sprinters, and they're actually the only ones faster than you here. And they're the toughest ones to deal with. They're the biggest problems. If you get one sprinter, it's not much of a problem. You can push him down. You can run away from the other bunch of zombies that are coming after you, isolate him, kill him, and then that's it. If there's 2 sprinters going after you, chances are I don't really see how you make it past that. Because by the time you've pushed one down, the other one will have already bitten you. Feral zombies are a nightmare. If you don't have a gun to deal with them, they are genuinely a nightmare. Having this setting at 4, I've noticed a few too many of them for me to actually have a comfortable time playing. It's not that I can't do, I can set this at 8, honestly, and I can still probably do it. The problem is I have to be ridiculously slow and careful. I'm talking about spending 3 days clearing a building and the street around it, and then slowly moving on to the next building, because you can't just sprint anywhere, you can't just go anywhere. You need to sort of crawl across the map, and that's just not fun. Instead, I'm going to drop this down to 2, and I'm going to have a little bit more freedom of movement around. And if I get, unlucky and meet 4 or 5 of these guys, ideally I'll have a gun, and if I don't, well, we just die, right? And rename everything is obviously going to be an option. from the mod again. The mod's literally called Rename Everything, and it's lovely. So, from the title of the video, you probably could tell we're going to play as an Insurgent. Now, an Insurgent, not in the sense of, inciting revolution or inciting, I guess, rebellion against someone. No, Insurgent in the sense that he was inserted, right? So, an elite black operations operative sent on a highly classified mission into the exclusion zone. And the lovely thing is, we do have a mission. We do have an actual mission inside the game. This is from a mod again, and the mission is to go to the secret military base and retrieve 2 items. We will know them when we pick them up, trust me. I think one is a vial and the other one is some documents or something like that. Currently, within this version of the mod, they don't do anything. But when we get there, we'll get there, right? Yeah, we'll figure it out. I am also using the cheat mod, a cheat menu, rather. And the only reason I'm using that is in case something breaks. So I have that enabled. I have that as an option, so in case there's an error, there's crashes, there's something is out of place, or there's some, what do you call it, some problems with regards to mods playing together. For example, 10 years later and Raven Creek might not work together in a particular area, and something might be blocked off when it shouldn't be, and etc, etc. In case I get some problems like that, especially with the secret mission, quote-unquote, it's not designed to work with 10 years later, so in case something happens on that end, I want to, have the option to play around with that and fix it. Alright, so let's actually begin to make our character. I'm going to pick up the negative traits first, because honestly I think that's easier for me, and we're going to go with a rough landing. So, well, interesting. Unideal weather conditions have resulted in a very rough landing, causing random injury. Ouch. So, we're going to have a rough landing, we're going to have slow healer, and we're going to have, what else do I want? I want one more, I think. I kind of want underweight, because it's 3 points, and I'm going to get it just because it's 3 points. This is me gaming the game a little bit, I'll be honest with you. Yeah. Oh, and I'm going to go with no rations as well. I'm going to start off with no food. We can find food on the ground. Okay, lovely. Now, let's pick up our positive traits. So, with Insurgent, we start off with 6 aiming, 6 reload, 2 fitness, and 2 strength. It's an overpowered start. Don't get me wrong, it is. The Insurgent start is more powerful than any of the other professions. No doubt about it. You start off with a knife and a machete, I think, or at least I'm going to try and start off with that if I pick CQC combat, right? It's extremely powerful, and here's the thing, though. If I was starting from day 1 of the infection, I wouldn't want this. But I'm starting from 10 years later. How the hell would you survive inside the zone for 10 years with no skills whatsoever? I mean, I understand not having fitness and strength, but no skills whatsoever inside the exclusion zone, nothing for survival, and you've lived there for 10 years? How? Right, and if you've lived in some sort of compound lap of luxury kind of thing, well then give me some items from that compound, right? It doesn't make any sense just to be dropped in like a newly born baby that suddenly grew up and in a matter of minutes and knows nothing. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So for me, this is a great start for 10 years later. If I'm playing the default game mode, too powerful. But for this, especially with CDDA zombies, trust me, we're going to have a whale of a time. So CQC Specialist, because I want the maintenance skill and the blade and blunt and all of that good stuff. Starts off with a machete, which is extremely powerful. So yeah, we're going to do that. Then I'm going to do... I want to do extra conditioning, but it's way too expensive. I'm going to do run and gun instead, because run and gun, you're adept in aiming in CQC environments. Your movement has no penalty when aiming. This is huge. This is like actually huge. I like going with organized, pretty much in all my characters, because you spend so much time lugging stuff around. That's extremely important. I'm going to go with quick reader as well, rather fast reader. You don't want to just sit there. I mean, this is mostly for YouTube purposes. You don't want to sit there and look at reading a magazine for like 3 hours or something. Much better to do it like this. Then, I want to do... let's see. I want to do combat medic. This is to counteract the injury that we're going to have so we can actually heal ourselves properly. And I still have 14 points left after all of that. So, hey, lovely. I guess I will pick up enhanced conditioning, strength, fitness, and running, so we don't have to do any exercises to build up those stats. This is not really necessary. Insensitive to pain, not really necessary. I have painkillers. I could grab fast learner, I guess. Yeah, I'll get fast learner. With the XP bonus, it'll be really nice. And then, let me see, do I want to remove any of these? I think I want to remove enhanced conditioning, actually, because it's a little bit too powerful. I still want to have to exercise occasionally. So instead of that, I'm going to get one of these. So either rifle, recon, marksman, or assault. I think I'm going to go with the recon. Basically, it'll start me off with a weapon, which I won't get to use, because, yeah, but... Experience gunslinger will start me with a revolver. Pistolier will start me with an M1911. But it'll replace the M9 pistol that I have already. So well, I'm going to start off with extra ammo and recon, and then that leaves me with 2 extra points. Or whatever I need. Experienced pistolier wouldn't be bad now, actually, after all of this. Ooh, better vision at night. Yeah, this is also a YouTube thing. I want this so that you guys will be able to see at night, at least somewhat better than normally, because I'm going to start off with this character. I've already prepared the outfit and everything, so I'm just going to rename him. But anyways, yeah, I want the better vision at night, mostly for you guys, not for me. Because with YouTube compression, if it's dark on my screen, it's going to be pitch black on YouTube, and there's nothing I can do about it. I think with YouTube Premium, it's a little bit better, but yeah, trust me, it's really not good. Doesn't matter how I upload the video, how I render it. When I upload it to YouTube, it just compresses it down even further, and it's extremely dark. So yeah, that'll be great for you guys on your end. For me, that'll be an advantage, but so I'm sort of looking more towards the prosperity of the Let's Play. Right, let's name our character, and he's going to be called... do we just go with John Wick? Nah, he's not that great at combat and stuff to be John Wick. He's more average. Let me think of something. Let's go with Sylvester. It's not going to be Stallone, but it's going to be Malone. Yeah? No? Jones. Sylvester Jones. How about that? I think so. Two characters from 2 different movies, but there you go. If you get the reference, you get it. If not, it's really not that deep. All right, I love the uniform, by the way. This all comes with the Insurgent mod pack, and I absolutely love it. I have a single holster, military boots, military desert boots. No, just regular military boots. I can have a grey hunting vest. And no. Bulletproof vest. Alright, and then oh, obviously turn off aviators, because it won't spawn me in with a mask. Bit of a bug there, I suppose. It allows you to put both here, but when you actually spawn in, it'll get rid of one. Alright, let's begin. I apologize for the long wait to actually get into the game. I'm going to title this episode 0, the setup, so you know what you're in for. But I do promise I'll try and pick up the pace a little bit when we start playing. because, yeah, it's obviously setting stuff up, it takes a bit of time, and I really wanted to go through everything, explain in detail why I'm making certain choices so that you know what you're in for the duration of the series, I guess. Alright, lovely. This is how we died. Or is it? I suppose we'll find out, right? Here we go. Loading in. And let's see where it's going to drop us. Ouch. Right. Well, let's get ourselves healed up really quickly. What happened, apparently, is that we were airdropped somewhere in the vicinity. And it would appear that we've managed to crawl our way into this storage area over here, and, well, we're a little bit stuck now, I suppose. But we've gotten here just in time to heal our wounds. And pick up a few useful things along the way, I suppose. Right, I'm going to take this long metal bar because it could be used as a weapon. And I took that already. And this stuff too. Okay, good. Oh, and we pick up a lighter. Lovely. So we already have something to work with. I'm going to need to drop this parachute in a lore-appropriate location, which is going to be right here, just outside. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the setup episode to this truly exciting series, at least for me, and I hope you will join me for this adventure, because it is going to be something truly special, I promise you. Alright, that's going to be it. This is going to be the setup video, and from here on out, we're actually going to start surviving and moving things along a little bit more quickly. Thank you for watching the setup. If you have any questions about how I did what I did, what mods I'm using, how I've set them up, some settings or anything like that, feel free to ask me down in the comments below. I will respond to the best of my ability, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching again, and have fun, take care, and bye-bye.